Well, good morning. We are excited to be here this morning with my dad, Reverend Leon L. Troy, who is the recipient of the 2020 Columbus Hall of Fame Award from Mayor Andy Ginther's office, Mayor of Columbus, Ohio. We are humbled as a family on behalf of my brothers and their households. We are just excited that Dad is being honored today for his many accomplishments in this city. Dad, talk about some of your accomplishments, primarily in the community. You've always been a person of teaching us about servanthood. Talk to us about how you instilled that at Second Baptist and some of the things you've done in the community in terms of serving on different committees and different commissions.
We would order potatoes to come from down south, be exported here, bring together a group of churches and say, if you have unloaded these potatoes, then your church will receive, for members in your congregation who are in your family would need these potatoes, would get them at the time of the holiday. And so we have pictures of seeing the various ministers coming and crawling out of the trucks, and then going inside having a good breakfast to remind yourself that fellowship means you work together. You're not a slave, but you're a servant. We started a school in the basement of Second Baptist Church. And as a result of that, parents were very happy to know when they first brought their children to our program, they would cry and complain. And I always said to them, go ahead, they'll survive, just give them to me. But I would always be there. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning getting myself ready to understand that they knew that this pastor, even though I had a staff, was important to see to it that thing, what we were doing and working with, that the little man who was standing there was happy to learn who those crying young people were. As a result of that kind of tender, loving care by our staff, myself, they came crying, but they left laughing because they wanted to stay with us now rather than go home to their parents. It's not only do you give a child a place to somewhere to learn, but also they learn that somebody cares about them. And that's always been a model in my family.
What did you enjoy most about serving as a community outreach liaison for the mayor's office?
That was an important one because he was always concerned that you cleared the path before you went into any community. Because a lot of times we always promise people in the community what we're going to do, and then we don't follow through. So he had to do a survey. I would go in and find out what was the last promise made to that community by City Hall. Did they keep that promise? And so once when I got all the facts and figures and understanding where we stood, I never let the mayor get sandbagged by coming and talking about something they had promised 20 years ago and never fulfilled. Always learn that your word ought to be your bond.
Dad, you've lived long enough to meet and see the first black president in Barack Obama. You've also had a chance to meet his great wife, Michelle Obama, but you've also been able to see just recently here the newly elected Vice President Harris to be elected to the vice presidency. But what does that mean to you, Dad, to live long enough to see that type of legacy take place?
It's the answer to prayer. At this time, this person will have an opportunity to do many, many, many things. Many of her forerunners wanted her to do, try to do, she'll be able to do and be answer to all their prayers and ours too, because she's going to make a difference in that role and in the world that God has given her an opportunity to assume.
So it's always stated that behind every great man there is a great woman that stands beside him. Talk about your relationship with Mom. You guys are coming up on being married almost 75 plus years on December 15th. Talk about the importance of that kind of bond.
It's a revelation, and I always smile when someone asks me that because I always come back saying, when the man went to sleep and when he woke up and he saw what God had done while he was asleep, he used this word, what a woman. And I said, ever since then, she has been the responsibility and the charge of a man, for he is still trying to understand what's in that woman that makes her different and work whatever sacrifice you have to pay to keep her relationship, good or bad, happy or unhappy. And so I'm saying to any young man, if he's thinking about marrying somebody, he needs to understand there's a price that you will pay. You got to learn that's in good times, in bad times, in understanding, in good moods and in bad moods. And when you learn that way after a while, there's certain things just to test you out. And if you're unwilling to be tested, maybe you're not ready for that assignment. And so I'm simply saying, it's a good lesson. I've tried to teach all my sons, and they all have wives, and they have children, and so they've got a little taste of what it means to make that kind of commitment.
Well, Dad, and we're glad that you passed the test for 75 years. What would you tell the 21-year-old Leon from the 94-year-old Reverend Leon L. Troy Sr. today in terms of life?
I'll tell him pause for station identification, to find out what's in his environment, where you become a product of what you hang around with, what you do, where you don't go, and where you do go. So it takes some time to enjoy. Don't rush so quickly you want to be the first there and the last guy to leave. So evaluation, because I was surprised. I'm 94 now. I've come a long ways. But I had to do that step by step. And you're going to have to do it step by step.
So, Dad, what would you like to say to Mayor Ginther and his administration? I know you've known the mayor for quite some time. Talk a bit about that relationship in terms of also what this means to be a recipient for this award.
I'm very excited about your opportunity to give me this award, where I've had a chance to see you in City Hall, out of City Hall, in the marketplace, and many other places. So it's an exciting time for me in particular to see your growth and development, and how now the entire community is benefiting from that growth. And thank you for letting me be a part of that situation. I'm still going to hang around here a little longer to see how far we're going to go as a community. Thank you, sir.
Dad, thank you for being a dad. Thank you for showing me what it is to be a father, and the importance to provide for a family, and to love a wife as you've loved Mom since day one. You've always been there for me. I thank you for the pathway that you've given me in terms of being a God-fearing man, to always put God first in my life. Dad, I never really understood early in my life why you had to leave so many times to go out in the community, but now I understand that was a part of your calling, to serve others who didn't necessarily have people in their lives to help them. Thank you for that example, to know that that is an important calling of serving others and not always expecting something in return, but to see the fruits of your labor. That I'm humbled to be your son, glad to be able to say thank you to you virtually, although we do talk at least 4 times a day, and I enjoy listening to you. You've given me the wisdom and direction. And sometimes I'm giving you wisdom and direction too, Dad. Whether or not you're listening to me, I don't know. But you know that I love you and I appreciate you, and know that I'll continue your legacy as we move forward in life. And I thank you for just being who you are, Dad. Love you so much.
So on behalf of Gail, Ray, and myself, Dad, we love you so much. I'm very proud of you for this induction into the Columbus Hall of Fame.
Hey, Pops. Congratulations on your induction into the City of Columbus's Hall of Fame. Wow, what a big honor. In fact, I'm sitting here thinking, 1976, when you moved our family here from Warren, Ohio, it was clear very early on that you were not only going to give your time and your talent, but you were also going to give this city your heart. And so thank you for being a living example of the 3 P's you've always talked about: prayer, patience, and perseverance. And so on behalf of Victoria, myself, Amon, and Eris, congratulations. Well done.
My name is Mr. Leon L. Troy Jr. And I would like to thank Mayor Ginther for recognizing my father, for being inducted into the City of Columbus Hall of Fame. My father has always been an inspiration to me ever since I was a little kid. He has always taught my 3 brothers and me that God comes first, and to treat my mother with the utmost respect, whom we consider the queen bee of our family. He also taught all of his sons to show the utmost respect to all people, regardless of their race or religious beliefs. As a result of his many lifetime teachings to us, we have become much better Afro-American men. I would like to congratulate my father on his induction into the City of Columbus Hall of Fame tonight. He has really been a blessing to his family as well as to his community through all these years. Thank you.
Hey Dan, congratulations. It's a long way from Scoville Avenue in Cleveland to being installed and recognized in the Hall of Fame of Columbus, Ohio. Know that Brenda and I and the children and grandchildren are very proud of you and excited for what you have done, and we appreciate the legacy you have left. This is from one Pastor Troy to the other Pastor Troy. God continue to bless you.